For all things great iron and hard top, it's Kevlu and Steve since the Sandbox.
Your boy Steve is back. That's right. I'm here with another positional top 10 rundown. Guys, we finally get into the good part, finally get into the offense that you guys have all been patiently waiting for. I appreciate that, but if you haven't, everybody go and check out my positional rankings. I already ran through all of the defensive positions. I started the offensive line, and those are both podcast and YouTube episodes, so make sure you guys go and check that out. Also, what I just came out with on YouTube and the podcast is my top 25. So I'm breaking down my top 25 guys in the NFL. So I'm going to continuously be dropping. I have 2 more drops for that list to finally finish. I just came out with 25 to 16. You guys will then get 15 to 6 and 5 to 1. So thank you for patiently waiting for that. If you haven't been waiting for it, go and check it out so you can hear it when it all comes out. Okay, we're here for our tight ends, our positional top 10 tight ends. We're about to go in, but one last announcement. Go and leave us a review, guys. You guys can leave us a review on our website, or you can do that on our podcast. And also, did you know that you can ask us a question to be answered on air? Guys, go to our website, sandbox.net, for all of that. All right, starting off, the positional top 10 rankings, the tight ends. At 10, I have Dallas Goddard, and I just think that what we need to consider for this tight end position this year was that, this was a really injured position, and not only that, there were some guys that, missed a lot of time, and there were some guys that heavily underperformed. So this list might have some familiar names. This list might have some names that you weren't expecting. Dallas Goddard here at 10. I definitely thought he was going to have a better season, especially after Zach Ertz was shipped away. But that was a really interesting thing with those Eagles tight ends. Dallas Goddard is still, one of the best tight ends in the NFL. That's why he's making my top 10 list. But he's just here at 10. His former teammate, Zach Ertz, is here at 9. Started off the year with the Eagles, then transitioned over to the Cardinals. And personally, for me, I thought Zach Ertz definitely flourished with that move over to the Cardinals. Now, what we have to consider is the fact that D-Hop got hurt. The offense around the Cardinals really slowed down. And, there was clearly some tension between Kyler Murray and the front office now that we're seeing everything pan out the way it is this offseason. So I think Zach Ertz is still a name that you can trust at your tight end position next year. Same thing with Dallas Goddard if we're talking about fantasy formats. Both of these guys will produce. At 8, now, this is where I think some of the debate can come in. This guy was an absolute machine as far as touchdowns go. I have Hunter Henry here. He clearly caught a bunch of touchdowns for the New England Patriots. And Hunter Henry with the Chargers was definitely somebody that we viewed as an elite tight end and was just, always misfortunate with a lot of his injuries in the way that all panned out. But Hunter Henry was a great threat for Mac Jones, was an awesome red zone threat. Would like to see him sustain more games. I know that's been a common problem for him. But, just being able to build that relationship and be known as, a check down guy or just a number one option. I really think Hunter Henry can provide that. And what a great security blanket that would be for Mac Jones. Here at 7, big name. And I get it if you want to disagree. These rankings are just based on this past year, not who they are, not their career statistics, not how much they get paid. At 7, I have George Kittle at the tight end position. Now look, Kittle was another one who was banged up throughout most of the year, but George Kittle, pieced a good second half of the season together. We know how impactful he is when he's fully healthy, and Jimmy G and him have had a great relationship. So George Kittle definitely has to make the list. If you're telling me that George Kittle's a little bit low here, I understand. But I think you'll agree once you start hearing some of the names that I have above him. At 6, really hurt me to put him this low because I thought he had a fantastic year. But the tight end position is just so hard to really break down and rank, especially. But at 6, I have Dawson Knox. He came out of nowhere this year, was very great, very dynamic weapon for Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. We know the Bills started off the year really hot. the second half of the season, the last 5 weeks for the Bills, things started to really get tough, as we could tell. There were some losses that they had that, maybe would have put them in a different scenario if that wasn't the case. My co-host Kev would tell you guys know him as the Buffalo Bills fan. Dawson Knox here at 6. I had Dawson Knox on my championship fantasy team. Have to keep that in mind. The tight end position, as far as fantasy football goes, is the biggest difference-making position. I will always reiterate that, no matter where it is, no matter what time it is, no matter who it is. If you can get consistent points from the tight end position, that's the way to win fantasy games. Okay, here at 5, another guy I had on my fantasy championship team this year, Dalton Schultz. And you could argue that Dalton Schultz could probably be a little bit higher up on this list. His relationship with Dak was really surprising to see that it developed to be, what it was. And the reason why I say that is because with Ezekiel Elliott, CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, those guys that, they all catch the ball. They catch it a lot. Tony Pollard catches the ball a lot. So the fact that Dalton Schultz was able to have a bit of an emergence and really be a reliable tight end, I think that goes to show that his name is a name here to stay, and I have Dalton Schultz here at number 5 for my positional tight end rankings. At 4, I have Gronk, and Gronk continues to surprise me. We do know that he'll probably call it quits with Tom Brady, being all done, wrapping up his fantastic career. Gronk has always prided himself on being only with one quarterback, and that quarterback being Tom Brady, but the first couple weeks of the season, Gronk was really, on a revenge tour after the championship that they just had the previous year. And he got hurt and things started to slow down. And we saw the same thing happen with Chris Godwin. He got hurt. That offense started to slow down. Mike Evans was in and out. AB took his shirt off and fled the scene. So we know what happened there. But the Bucs had a good run. They won a championship in their 2 years. So I would say that was the goal. Here at 3, Kyle Pitts. Guys, Kyle Pitts is going to be a name that's going to be in the top tight end rankings for a long time. We saw how dynamic he was as a pass catcher. One of the first rookie tight ends. Actually, I think he was the first rookie tight end, maybe with the exception of Jeremy Shockey, to catch for 1,000 yards. So that's a great statistic, even though the Atlanta Falcons clearly didn't have the year that they were hoping for. Maybe if the Falcons get Calvin Ridley back, a little bit more of a rushing threat, even though Cordell Patterson was an absolute beast this year. We'll see if that could stay consistent. At 2, call me crazy. Do not take this personal, anybody. At 2, I do have Travis Kelce, and like I said, I'm basing this just off of last year. And, I really don't think that Travis Kelce had the best tight end season last year. I think Mark Andrews did. So Mark Andrews is my number 1 tight end this year. Caught for over 1,200 yards at the tight end position. I want to say it was probably around 1,400 if I had to put a guess to it. But with that quarterback, carousel that was going on for the Ravens with Lamar being injured, Huntley was going in. Mark Andrews really was the guy, and it was nice to see Marquise Brown really develop and be a consistent weapon for that team. But even better than Mark Andrews was that number 1 option. But guys, that's my positional top 10 tight ends. That's the rankings. I had to run it down for you guys. I'm about to give you guys the wide receivers. The running backs are coming soon. The quarterback will be in a couple of weeks. But in the meantime, go and check out our other positional rankings. I gave you guys the defense, and I also started my top 25. So make sure you guys hit 25 to 16 on my top 25. Go and leave us a 5-star review. You could do that on sandbox.net, or you can do it on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you stream your podcast. And don't worry, for all you guys that watch the NFL draft, our draft and NFL free agency coverage is coming real soon. Peace out, guys.
For all things great iron and hard top, it's Kev Lewis defense a Sandbox.